about making historic Stockton colorful in your own way with a coloring book of the beautiful city of Stockton.
Yeah, Cody's Caravan is in Stockton this morning to show us how this coloring book came to be. Hey, Cody.
Good morning to you guys. This is Dr. Diana Knight. If you're ever on a game show and they say you can phone a friend who's really smart, this is the friend that you want to have. Just prove it to them. Give me a fun fact about Vikings.
Well, they didn't wear horns. They went across the North Atlantic and established the international markets as we know them today.
That's a fun fact. I'm telling you, she knows everything. Okay, so we met, what was it, 10 years ago?
Yeah, about 10 years ago when I did the Kickstarter for this coloring book.
Yeah, the Viking coloring book.
Yep.
And I learned so much about Viking culture because of this coloring book. It was sneaky, and I found out why it was sneaky. So coloring, what does that do with your brain as you're learning stuff?
If you use coloring books as an educational tool, it actually engages a different part of your brain. It uses the part that deals with color instead of regular text, which is how we normally learn now. But if you're using hand-eye coordination in with it, actually activates more of your brain so that you're creating a net that allows you to pull more information in when you need it. So helps train your brain a little.
Yeah. Did I mention she's super smart? Okay, so this was the first one that I met you with.
Yeah.
You've done other projects, but this is the new project. It's the Historic Stockton Coloring Book Volume 1.
Yes. So this was a grant-funded project from Stockton Arts Commission. I landed one of the 2024 Stockton Arts grants. And the book is 20 pages of Stockton awesomeness. We've got scenes starting at the very beginning of Stockton, going all the way through to, I think the most recent one is in the 90s, maybe? I know I certainly took one in the 90s in there, so there might be one later than that. But yeah, it's our whole span.
It's super cool, and it's so neat because everybody can learn about the history of Stockton via the coloring book. Yes. We're going to show you some big pictures so we can, Sean can show it off a little bit better than me just open this up. But you got, with this grant, you're giving these out to all these kids.
I am. Part of what the grant covered was not only for me to take time away from substitute teaching to create the thing, but it also covered a print run of 2,000 copies to give to students in the city. So if you happen to be a student in Stockton, make certain you get a hold of me through my website, and I will try and hook you up until I run out. And if I run out, I will try and do another print run.
I think you're going to have to.
I already think I am. I've had enough public response on the non-student side to justify it.
Yeah. And really cool. On the back of it, there's a little QR code, and it translates it into 40-plus different languages.
Yes, it did. I took the whole text and translated it using Google Translate, so shout out to Google, to make it as accessible to everybody as I possibly could. So we've got 40 different languages plus, and if I can come up with more translations, I'll add them as well.
Fantastic. Okay, coming up, we're going to show you the big pictures so you can see them really well. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to test it on kids. Yep. It's not official until we test it on kids.
Well, they already know about it because they were actually my survey kids, and they tested it a little. This is what happens when you show it to them.
Oh, so cute.
They've done a great job, so I'm so proud of them.
All right, stick around for that. And by the way, the hat is choice. Back to you guys.
You guys look great.
It's like you planned it, but you didn't. I love it. Thanks, Cody.
Thank you, Cody.
We didn't, because I planned nothing.
Not for real, I didn't know either.
Thank you, guys. Historic Stockton is looking picturesque in a new coloring book.
Yeah, Cody's Caravan is in the 209 meeting the woman who's behind this lovely coloring book. Hey, Cody.
Indeed, it's Dr. Diana Knight, also known as Dr. D.
Yep,
Dr. D is what everybody calls you. Your doctorate is in what? This is fascinating.
Archaeology. I specialized in archaeology of the Viking North Atlantic, but I used the skill set to create the coloring book.
It's so cool. Okay, so you got this project, the Historic Stockton Coloring Book. Now, I wanted to show the big pictures, to show off a little bit better, but each picture in the book has a story, a tale to tell.
Yes. So what I've done is the pictures that I've collected to create the book are scenes that are either we haven't seen them in a while and it'll inspire stories, or they're ones that maybe show people being really proud because kids should see that in school. So I've taken them all together and used it to kind of tease apart some of the diverse history of Stockton that isn't necessarily always portrayed in other things. So we've got some different pieces. Yeah.
Let's start with this one right here. This is a very famous home.
This is a very famous home. So this is Julia Weber's home, and she was the daughter of the founder of Stockton. The coloring book's not going to have much about Charles Weber, but it does have Julia Weber. So Julia used to live over at Weber's Point, and she had a lot of money. She had the house built. It's, at this picture, it was actually on West Lanes, short, a little bit near us, not all that far. But it ended up being a place where it was part of farms. So in the back here, she would feed homeless people during the Depression. And otherwise, the house was a really beautiful townhouse. So when the last living family member died, the house was deeded to San Joaquin Historical Museum. And it eventually made its way over to there. So you can actually go visit that house. It's not red anymore, but you can go visit the outside of it. And if you want to see the insides of it, you can go to the museum.
Very cool, very cool. Now I want to go to this one right here. You've done so much research that 3 out of the 4 boats, in what year was this?
This was 1890s.
1890s.
Yeah.
She has found out the names of 3 out of the 4 boats.
Yeah, so from here, we've got the Kathleen, loaded with bricks. We've got the Port of Stockton. We've got the TJ Walker in the very back. The sailing vessel in the front that was loaded with coal, we don't really know the name of because it wasn't written. But the photographer that took the photograph ended up being somebody working in San Francisco. So that photograph actually came from the San Francisco Maritime Museum.
Wow, so much research.
Yeah.
So much research. And you're coloring, so as you're doing that, your brain soaks in the history.
And you're able to talk about it with other people, which creates a good memory, which means that it's building community.
Yeah. It's fantastic. We're going to test it out in the kids, though. Okay. We got some kids ready to color this morning, so we're going to go into a classroom and color with the kids, and that's coming up. But I'm telling you, this is such a good idea. If you are a town out there or a city and you're proud of your history, she can do this for you, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Contact me. I'm more than happy to.
I'm actually texting the mayor of Patterson right now about this, because I feel like Patterson needs to do this.
Right
All right,
on.
back to you guys in the studio.
Hey, Code, where do you want to send the caravan next?
Oh, you know me, I'm always looking for crazy characters. So if you know a character and you're like, hey, I know this guy Bob that does this thing that I think Cody would like, let me know. Good day at kmaxtv.com.
Cody with a crazy character together. It's always gold. Thank you, Cody. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
There's a local author adding a little more color to the 209. Cody and his caravan are in Stockton with a new coloring book that highlights the city. Hey, Code.
That's right. We must be in the right spot because it says welcome good day on there. Hello, children folk. These are 3rd graders.
Yep.
Whose class are we in right now?
Miss Vang's class.
Hi, Miss Bang. Thank you very much for having us in here. Okay. Oh, there she is. So, as the kids are working on the coloring books right here, notice the sound of silence.
Oh, yeah, no, this class is really well run.
They're really into this.
Yeah.
But I was kind of teasing before that some of the students here actually had a part into making this book.
They did. They did. So I was substituting art like a year and a half ago now. And I asked the kids what they would like to include in a coloring book about Stockton, because we had a week together. And I make coloring books, so it seemed kind of obvious. And so I got really good feedback. Some of the kids in here were also involved in that. They were in 1st grade at the time. And the other group would be 2nd grade. So I've been trying to make certain that the ones that helped with the survey work got a chance to help with the promotional work too, because they've been there from the beginning.
They've been there for they're the researchers.
Yeah. And there's one other school that helped as well. Voices also helped. So 1st and 2nd grade there as well.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Now, if people are just tuning in, this is a coloring book about the history of Stockton. And as you're coloring, you're going to learn a little bit about the area. Can you give us a fascinating tale from one of the pictures in here?
Well,
and you know which one I'm asking about.
Oh.
I know you won't tell her.
Oh, no, that's all right. So the one that struck him this morning, let me pull it up, is the Flamingo Club. And the Flamingo Club existed on Southside, Charterway. You guys know it as a 7-Eleven now, because the sign that is here is a 7-Eleven sign, but it's still the same shape. So part of what I wrote in the top part is that in the 90s, during a party one night, there may have been the devil show up.
A weird dude
A
showed
weird
up.
dude. It could have been somebody dancing on a table dressed in black. When I talk to people about this, as I've been showing them, the adults have different stories. If they're from South Side, they say it's a woman. If they're from North Side of town, they say it's a man. So
And
we've got a really interesting bit of folklore.
And the paper actually did a story about it. It was like printed in the newspaper, and I was like,
When
"What?"
you look it up, and the first thing that pops up is the Stockton Record story from the 90s about what happened.
Well,
So-
thank you very much. We've had a lovely time today learning about the comic book. If people want to get a hold of it, what do they need to do?
The easiest way to get a hold of it is to go to my website. It's just my name, dianaknight.com. And I've got project information there. I've got a shop if you're an adult maybe and you want a copy and you're not a student, getting one for free in town. Teachers can sign up there for their classes. I will be distributing the rest of the 1,600 that are left until I run out. So please get a hold of me. I'm happy to supply class sets. And yeah, it's been great.
Fantastic. I have learned so much today about Stockton, and that's the whole point of the coloring book. All right, back to you guys in the studio.
You, Cody.
Love it. Thank you, Code.